For over 6 centuries, one family controlled vast swaths of Europe, ruling some of the most powerful kingdoms and empires the world has ever seen. This is the story of the Habsburgs, a dynasty whose empire wasn't built by a single ruler, but through a legacy passed down across generations and spanning continents. But how did this lineage of European powerhouses rise to greatness? And why did they ultimately fall from their towering heights? Let's find out. The Habsburg family's origins lie in Switzerland. Their name comes from the Habsburg Castle, a fortress built in the early 11th century. The family started as minor nobles in what is now modern-day Switzerland, but their ambitions soon outgrew the confines of their homeland. In 1273, Rudolf I of Habsburg was elected King of the Romans, marking the family's first major leap into the political forefront of Europe. While Rudolf's reign wasn't long, it was pivotal. He managed to conquer Austria in 1278, laying the foundation for what would eventually become the Habsburg Empire. From that moment, Austria became the Habsburg power base, a region they would hold on to for centuries. But what was their real secret to success? It wasn't just in conquest, it was in marriage. The Habsburgs mastered the art of using marriage as a tool of expansion. Instead of relying solely on military conquests, they married into other royal families, amassing land and influence without drawing a sword. Their famous motto, Bella gerent ali tu felix Austria nube, translates to, let others wage war, you, happy Austria, marry. This strategy paid off brilliantly, allowing the Habsburgs to acquire territories stretching from the Netherlands to Spain and beyond. In 1437, Albert II of Habsburg became the Holy Roman Emperor. This marked the beginning of the Habsburgs' long-standing control over the Holy Roman Empire. For nearly 4 centuries, from the 15th century until the empire's dissolution in 1806, the Habsburgs dominated Central European politics. One of their most famous marriage alliances occurred in 1496, when Maximilian I arranged for his son, Philip the Handsome, to marry Joanna of Castile, the daughter of Ferdinand and Isabella. This union would later grant the Habsburgs control of Spain and its vast empire, including territories in the New World. By the early 16th century, the Habsburgs had risen to unprecedented levels of power. But who was at the center of it all? Charles V. Born in 1500, Charles became ruler of the Habsburg Netherlands, Spain, and the Holy Roman Empire, making him one of the most powerful monarchs in history. Under his reign, the Habsburg Empire became a global force, with territories in Europe, the Americas, and parts of Africa and Asia. But with great power came great challenges. The Protestant Reformation, spearheaded by Martin Luther, threatened to divide Charles's empire along religious lines. Despite his efforts to maintain Catholic unity across his realms, the rise of Protestantism, particularly in the Holy Roman Empire, would lay the groundwork for future conflicts. Charles's reign wasn't just marked by religious strife. He also faced continuous wars with France and the Ottoman Empire. The sheer scale of his territories made governing them effectively almost impossible. In 1556, Charles V, exhausted from years of ruling, abdicated his various crowns. He split the empire between his son, Philip II of Spain, and his brother, Ferdinand I, who inherited the Austrian lands and the title of Holy Roman Emperor. This division marked the beginning of a slow but steady decline for the Habsburgs. As the 16th century gave way to the 17th, Europe plunged into one of its bloodiest periods. Why? The 30 Years' War. What started as a conflict between Catholic and Protestant states within the Holy Roman Empire soon spiraled into a continent-wide struggle for dominance. The Habsburgs, staunch defenders of Catholicism, found themselves at the heart of the conflict. Ferdinand II, a devout Catholic, ascended to the throne of the Holy Roman Empire in 1619, determined to suppress Protestantism. His reign saw the early stages of the 30 Years' War, a brutal conflict that would devastate Central Europe. The war ended in 1648 with the Peace of Westphalia, a treaty that severely weakened the Holy Roman Empire and marked the beginning of the end for the Habsburgs' dominance in European politics. Yet, even as their power in Central Europe waned, the Spanish branch of the family continued to wield considerable influence. Under Philip II, Spain became the dominant global power, with its empire stretching across the Americas and the Pacific. However, by the late 17th century, even Spain was in decline. The disastrous War of Spanish Succession from 1701 to 1714 would be a turning point for the Habsburgs, leading to the loss of the Spanish crown to the Bourbon dynasty. While the Spanish Habsburgs had crumbled, the Austrian branch held on. In the 18th century, Maria Theresa became the ruler of the Habsburg lands. She was a shrewd leader who fought to modernize the empire and strengthen its defenses. But even her reign was marred by conflicts, including the War of Austrian Succession and the 7 Years' War. Her son, Joseph II, sought to implement even more radical reforms, including religious tolerance and the abolition of serfdom. However, his reforms were met with resistance from conservative elements within the empire, and many were rolled back after his death. As the 19th century dawned, the Habsburgs found themselves grappling with the forces of nationalism and industrialization. The revolutions of 1848 swept through Europe, shaking the foundations of the old monarchies. The Habsburgs, under Emperor Franz Joseph I, managed to survive the upheaval, but their empire was increasingly fragile.